Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Point Men, a Korean thriller from 2023 that stars Hwang Jung-min and Hyun. This is based on a true story. And the story involves a diplomat and a National Intelligence Service agent who both struggle and risk their lives on foreign soil to save Korean hostages that have been abducted in the Middle East. And the film is based on true events of the 2007 South Korean hostage crisis in Afghanistan when 23 Korean missionaries were captured and held captive. And I'm not sure exactly, how it is with these based on a true story stuff. I'm not sure how accurate this is. I would assume there was a lot of things exaggerated and changed for dramatic effect, right? But the film begins with some backstory on 9/11, and then we're introduced to a busload of Korean missionaries, and they are immediately taken hostage by the 3-minute mark of the film. And the kidnappers communicate that they are willing to release these hostages, but only if authorities free some imprisoned Taliban members. And the deadline for compliance is 24 hours. Now, early negotiations seem to go positively, but the crap's going to hit the fan, and our two protagonists are going to have to jump through some hoops to get these hostages out. And there are essentially two routes to take when making a movie like this. Number one, you could go the realistic route. Or two, you could go the brainless action movie route. And The Point Men takes the realistic route. And I think it actually does a very good job. The non-Korean actors in this movie are good. And, if non-Korean actors in Korean movies are not exactly a strength of the Korean film industry, at least historically. And if you've seen a lot of Korean movies, especially from back in the day, with like Caucasian actors or actors from anywhere, they're usually pretty dodgy, you know what I mean? But I have to admit, it's impressive here. The interactions between the Koreans and their Middle Eastern contacts are well acted. And even when they're forced to speak directly to each other in English, it comes off pretty well. And then a British actor or character shows up and gives a legit performance, and he has some convincing interactions with the Koreans. So, it's no surprise that Hwang Jung-min and Hyun are great. Those guys are legit Korean actors. But I was actually kind of shocked at the acting quality of the international cast in this. They did a good job, and it was important because this movie does take itself quite seriously. Now, story-wise, the ultimate ending of the movie could be somewhat predictable, but there are little twists along the way. There are unfortunate setbacks that take place. Makes you root for the protagonists because their objective is established to be very difficult to achieve in this. The depiction of the kidnappers and the non-Koreans is such that our protagonists get outsmarted by them, and consequently placed in bad positions within the negotiation process. And the kidnappers kind of have all of the leverage here, but somehow our protagonists need to find a way to negotiate a desired outcome, And I found this to be a pretty compelling and relentless situation and conflict, and that helped to kind of elevate The Point Men to being, a very entertaining and briskly paced dramatic thriller. Now, the movie achieves most of this despite having little to no action set pieces in it. There's a lot of suspense, huge sense of urgency that never lets up, a few scenes of violence here and there, but the only real action set piece per se is a motorcycle truck chase, and even that scene is very grounded and mostly realistic in how it's depicted. So I kind of like that sense of groundedness that the filmmakers brought to this film. Now, in terms of production, I think the movie was actually shot in Jordan, which gives it some authenticity, and the desert environment is captured well, I think. I'm not sure how accurate the cultures are represented in this, but there are a few festive moments involving a fire party at night. And as I said previously, the scriptwriters seem to create the international characters in mind with a level of respect. They're smart and they're kind of not to be messed with, you know what I mean? Yeah. Now, in terms of flaws, there are a few themes that they could have discussed a little bit more, like the fact that a group of regular Korean citizens decided to go into a war zone for missionary purposes, but are, for some reason, depicted as simple victims who are not responsible for their dire situation. And I noticed this kind of like immediately within the opening 3 minutes. I mean, they just put themselves in danger. They don't even try to do like anything appropriate if you were even attempting to accomplish this goal that they're doing, right? So I was kind of scratching my head, wondering what these people were doing. And remember, these are not healthcare personnel who are going abroad to offer international aid. They're missionaries, all right? And this movie does like briefly address this topic a few times, but I would have liked to have seen like a full-blown discussion on the matter, just like a 5-minute, full-blown discussion or debate on, it would have added an extra layer of depth and discussion on the matter. Like what is our responsibility to save these people who just put themselves at terrible risk, But overall, I think I really enjoyed the movie. I think it's a legitimately good flick. And the only reason I watched it was because of the actors, and it kind of surprised me how good it was. Currently available streaming on Viki.com and Dailymotion, and I definitely recommend this one. And as always, I'll see you next time.